Hi, everybody. It's me, Charles Norm from Sports Solutions LLC. We are the creators of Athletic SOS. So in this one's really important to me. So I hope I can get this across clearly. Youth sports or high school sport is going to change forever in 2025. And when I say it's going to change, I mean fundamentally everything about high school sports will start to be changed based on what's going on in college. And so let me explain what's going on in college first, and then I'm going to come back and explain why it's going to affect high school sports. And from there, it's going to affect youth sports. And so what's going to happen in the college ranks, for the NCAA at least, is that they are going to be able to pay college athletes directly. So imagine you get an athletic scholarship, but they can also give you money to come and play for them. So that is a fundamental game changer. Now, if you look at all the changes over the last few years, and you guys have heard me say the NCAA is going through since 2020, it's a wild, wild west out there. And so if you think about it, they have the transfer portal, they got NIL, they have the affirmative action thing, they have the SAT and ACT no longer required for your initial year. All these things just happen in rapid form because of all these lawsuits that just sort of came in and got judged on quickly. And the NCAA was taking loss after loss after loss after loss. And everybody, and I keep telling you guys this, whenever people try to get legislative, and so the NCAA tried to do that about 20, 25 years ago. And let me explain a little bit about the NCAA. The NCAA is simply a governing body. They are not the colleges themselves. They don't work on the campus of the college. About 25 years ago, what ended up happening was they were a separate organization, and all they did was said, here are the rules for people to come and play at the college, because the colleges needed somebody to kind of referee so people didn't cheat from the college thing, right? Bringing these ringers or bringing kids that weren't qualified to play, didn't even go to the school, those kind of things. But what ended up happening was the staff, administrative staff from the colleges were getting upset with the NCAA, and because they were saying that we're getting kids that weren't qualified to attend school anyway. And so they decided they're going to get on the NCAA board. And what do I tell you guys? Once somebody gets on there and thinks they're going to go in there and fix it, and they're going to make these new rules, it's going to backfire. It takes a little while to backfire. So what ends up over time was they get on there, they create this GPA, SAT type thing. You had to meet all these requirements. They had to balance out. And it was a mess because they didn't know what they were doing. They're trying to come in and mess in an area they can't mess in. But over time, whenever somebody changes legislation on some parents, and it blocks them from doing what they were in line to do, they had followed the rules up to this point, and all of a sudden you change the rules, they sue. And now you've got a new set of legislation. And so what ended up happening was the players and the parents' families started to sue, and then business gets into it. And so those lawsuits started going through. The NCAA tries to fight it, right? They use their money, their power to fight. And a lot of kids missed opportunities to play. The same thing with the NIL. The same thing with, and then people come in and they're trying to change the rules for the SAT, ACT, and it takes a while to go through the system, right? Because everybody's trying to make everybody negotiate and get a mediator in there, but it never works out, because once attorneys get involved, once businesses see there's an opportunity for them to make money off of things, it gets pushed and pushed and pushed, and rightly so. To me, we're in America. This is how I'm taking this. If you have an opportunity, if you have a talent and something to do, and you're at a young age and your parents are okay and they're with you, why are you not allowed to make money? Why is sports separated from everything else? Nobody says anything about this for anything else, but they were doing it for athletes, and they were doing it at the high school level, and they were doing it at the collegiate level. We'll only let you do this if you do these things. Now, we're not making everybody else do this, just you guys, because, well, it's sports, and you guys don't know what you're doing. You're not smart enough to figure it out. The dumb jock sort of theory, and it's ridiculous. And it always has been ridiculous that people knew it, and they knew it wouldn't hold up in court. So what ends up happening, and this is kind of why I'm making this video, because the reason I'm saying high school sports is going to change is because they're going to do the same thing they did to the collegiate people. They're going to try to shame you into saying, hey, it's not just about sports, it's about your kid, it's about who your kid is, and you shouldn't be worried about making money off your kid, and all these things. They're going to shame, they're going to bully, they're going to try to intimidate, and they're going to make you almost turn on yourself, even though you know it's a ridiculous premise. A lot of parents are going to go along with it, and they're going to be infiltrating the parents that are going, wait a minute, how come our kid can't use their talent, their abilities to make money? Because you guys don't mind taking money from us, right? We got to pay for uniforms now at the high school level. You got to pay part of the travel costs. You got to do fundraisers every year. Your kid has to come and do all these little extra things to help the athletic program on the high school campus, even at the junior high school level, at the travel club level. Parents are pouring money in like crazy. It costs a lot of money for your kid to play sports. and all of a sudden your kid can't make money on the other side from NIL, or maybe they create their own social media profiles and they start to get people to follow them, and then the social media platforms start going, hey, we'll give you money. You got all these people following you, and then they come up with their own products and things like that. It almost becomes a family business. Why? Because the purity of the sport. Because sport is not supposed to be there. And so this is kind of what I want to get into, because the change is coming anyway. No matter how many people try to change it, no matter how many people try to stop it or slow it down, it is coming. This train is coming down the line. So they have a lot of things to get ready and done and get correct as far as making money at the collegiate level. I think they're going to get like $21 million. And you guys can Google this, look at any of your search browsers on there, and go ahead and look it up and see, and just put in NCAA to pay college players directly, and you'll start seeing a bunch of articles. They don't have it completely set up, but it'll be the 2025-2026 season that this will kind of kick in. And right now it's just the Big Five conferences, the really top D1 conferences, but it has to trickle down a little bit. I don't know where it's going to trickle exactly. I don't know how a marginal school that doesn't make that much money, how they are going to be able to pay their players. Maybe they won't. But I think what those colleges are going to have to do, they're going to have to make a decision. They're going to have to sit. Those boards are going to have to sit and go, we're going to do this for real, or are we just going to be a also ran and we're okay with that? And either way is fine, but they're going to have to make that decision. And so that decision needs to come down to, we need to adjust how we do things so that this will work. Otherwise, it won't work. You're going to put effort in, because if you got to pay those kids, and I think it's $21 million from this group that made this, they can pay up to $21 million. How do you do that with Title IX? I have no idea. Do you pay the girls and the boys equally? Is there certain sports you make more than you pay the other ones? Do you make it even across the board? I have no idea how they're going to pull that off. It's not in any article. But one of the things I keep telling you guys is, one of the things I do when I'm going around as I'm doing this and building my business, I ask one question. I go, tell me exactly how I can set my kid up to get an athletic scholarship. And no one can tell you that, because it's a crapshoot. You don't know. You could do the exact perfect thing as this other kid right here, and this other kid gets picked, and you don't know why. They get the offer, you don't. You did everything exactly right, because at some point somebody's got to make a decision. And the worst part for me is that there's empty seats everywhere else, but you don't know about them because you got locked in. It felt like you had done everything right, but you didn't get it. This kid did. And so you don't even know where your other options are, and now the year is running out. And this is one of the reasons I always say that all of these cool organizations, and I'm a part of a couple of them, they're trying to get youth sports back to what it was, right? It was let's learn about fair play. Let's learn about competition. Let's learn about winning and losing. Let's learn about discipline. Let's learn about time management. Let's learn to socialize correctly. Let's do all of these cool things that you learn in youth sports. And I don't know what era they're going back to. Maybe it's the 50s, the 60s. I have no idea what they're thinking about. But what they're trying to do is get back to, and I think the bottom line for most of these organizations, they want to get back to its fun. Sports should be fun for kids. And then the ones that blossom, they blossom, let them go, let them fly. But everybody should have equal access. There should be a set of rules of conduct for the kids and the family, and the same thing for the coaches. But what ends up happening, and this is just me, and if you guys know my background at all, I came from a government background. My daughter was a really good athlete. I'm trying to figure out, what does it take to get her an athletic scholarship? I just happened to, she came along right when the last financial turndown was. So I was on furlough. And so I had to do this economically as possible. And it was very frustrating. We ended up getting there, but I saw the confusion in it. And my brain works in a way where, how do we nullify the confusion? And as I'm going through this year after year after year, as I'm trying to figure this out, and then I decided, hey, as I saw what the future was going to be, I retired from my government job. I did the year, so I did get out with the pension. I didn't just leave. So don't do that, whatever you're doing. But I decided I need to start a business for my family, because the future is going to be, you're not going to be able to go and get this government job or this job and stay there 25, 30 years. My kids weren't going to get that opportunity. So that's the other thing I'm doing as we go on this journey. I'm going to show you guys what it takes to get a business up and running as an individual. This is the piece of it. And I had no clue how to do it, because I didn't come from that world, and I was never taught that anywhere. And so part of that journey, and I tell you guys, it takes 7 to 10 years. If you're going to do something, you start today, and then you're going to have to wait 7 years, most likely, unless you're really heavily into that industry. It's going to take you 7 years just to get some traction. And then from 7 to 10, you're going to start exploding. And now you got to make a decision, because if you're going to explode out there, you're going to need to really go in all in, and you're going to have to put some effort in. You're going to have to take some big risks. And so anyway, so that's where I am in this journey. And so just going back a little bit so I don't get too far off the track. So then it comes down to how do we navigate the youth part of it, right? So now you're in high school, and how is it going to change? How is high school going to change? How is the elementary, junior high school? How is all that going to change? Because it's going to change fast. And it's already getting geared because I'm in these meetings. And so people are already being prepared at the youth level to get the kids in position to go to high school, to get them in position to get into college. And so it's all going to change. These groups are gearing up right now for your kid. And what everybody's going to end up doing is they're going to try to embarrass you, they're going to try to intimidate you, and they're going to try to manipulate you into saying, oh, we don't need our kids to get paid to play sports. Youth sports is not about that. We don't want to be like the colleges and the pros. It ruins the sport, all that stuff. At the same exact time, and this is what bugs me a little bit, is you're paying for the uniforms at high school, right? You're paying for travel costs. Your kid has to do fundraisers. They got to do all this extra stuff to be on the team. It's coming out of your pocket. And I'm not even going to talk about youth sports where you got to pay to be on a team. You got to pay to travel. You got to pay the coaches. You got to pay for training. You got to pay. Money's just flowing out of your pocket. So the separation is going to happen anyway, because if your kid doesn't take to a sport early, then your kid's going to quit, and you're going to be all for it. You're going to be like, you know what, this is costing me money. They don't even want to go. We're out. And so you're going to ruin it the other way anyway. Why is it? And why is it just sports? And this is the other thing that I keep questioning. Out of everything else you could do as a youth, if you can find a way to make money doing that, everybody's applauding it. But when it comes to sports, all of a sudden, no, you guys are greedy. You're not playing for the love of the game. You're not doing this and that. It makes no sense. Just pour money out of your pocket, but don't take anything back because your kid has figured out how to do that, or you as a family have figured out how to do it. Now, there's always the problem with if every kid is going to be trying to do this for themselves, then you're going to have problems on the teams, right? Every kid's trying to show off, get the most points, get the most yards, get the most wins, get the at the demise of the school and sportsmanship and being a great teammate. That could happen, but we want to fix that too. So how do we fix all this? How do we make all this stuff work for us? Well, here's what we want to do. We want to first, from those 5 to 9 years, I call those discovery years, we want to find the sports that your kid really connects with, that it is who they are. And you know when a kid's playing the sport they were born to play. You can see it. They're different. You can also see the kids that work real hard and they're pretty good, but you see that kid that's special. That kid that whatever sport it is, when they do it, it makes sense. So we're trying to find that sport. And how do you do that? You sign your kid up, not necessarily to join a league or something like that all the time. Yes, they can join a league starting at 5 years old, get them in the regular baseball, basketball, football, soccer, those volleyball, those areas, go ahead and sign them up. That's fine. But what we're looking at is for 2 or 3 other ones that you can go in and find somebody that trains, somebody that gets paid and training, and maybe your rec and parks has it also. You don't have the money to do this, but go and let them just take the lessons and take a weekend lesson, maybe a 2-week program, whatever's going on. Go, hey, I'll pay. I just want to see if my kid connects with this. And then you're looking to see if your kid likes those things, then let's get them involved in that too. And then once they get involved in these 2 or 3 other things, plus the one that you put them in the league as the seasons go by, you keep them moving. But once they're doing it, let's say it's archery, and your kid gets into the archery thing, because your kid likes to do things solo. They're not really into all this team stuff, and they're not super athletic, but they're precision. They think really well. They get in archery. And so what you want to do now is you want to look for an archery place where they can go and practice or participate that's a couple of cities over. And you go over there and you do that, and you guys go out there. You go out early in the morning, you have breakfast over in that area. And then you go and you meet some of the other people there, and you talk about the equipment and all that kind of stuff. So you connect with other parents, your kid connects with other kids that may be doing it, and that's how you start to get your kid. That's how you start to meet other people. You're starting to build a little bit of a network, and you're starting to connect with people. Your kid's getting the same thing, but you're letting them spread their wings a little bit, and they're seeing how big the world really is. This is what I get excited about, is that the possibilities, you're doing it anyway, let's just go a little bit of an extra mile. And you as the parent, you're tired, you go to work, you're like, I'm doing too much, I don't want to do all this. This gives you a chance to get out and get away a little bit and go do some stuff without somebody controlling you, right? And how you do it. And so we're trying to do that through 5 to 9. We're trying to find the sport that they love to play. You're looking at and what you can do with Athletic SOS, and that's one of the things I do with the software. Even if your kid's not in high school yet, go ahead and act like you use the code down below, use the instructions, go through the process of registering. You don't have to finish it up, and look at all the sports. There's 30 of them there. Pick a couple and take those and go and run with them a little bit and see if they connect with your kid and who they are. And now you learn who your kid is. You learn what their personality is and what they're going to do and not do. You don't have to pigeonhole them into something. Let them be naturally into it. If you find a sport they're naturally good at, and I believe every single kid, there's a sport they're naturally good at. I'm just hoping you can find some ones where they can get an athletic scholarship and get paid to go to college, because that makes a huge difference as far as I'm concerned, and that's what you want to try to pull off. But they can play other sports that they don't have scholarships for, but you're trying to find that thing for them. Okay, so that's 5 to 9. We're doing that. They're still playing in these leagues locally. They're getting along with their friends that they go to school with, all that stuff. That's all cool, but they got their own little side thing. By the time they get to junior high school, you should know who your kid is. So that's that 10 to 12-year-old. And so from 10 to 12, what we're trying to do now is we're trying to focus in a little bit. Your kid's pretty good at these couple of sports. Maybe you break it down to just 2 sports. Now what you're trying to do is you're trying to find trainers, travel club programs, and all of those. But you're going to do the same thing. You just can't do it so far outside, so independently. So if you guys are going as a travel club program, they go all over anyway. And so what you want to do is go a day early or stay a day later, wherever you guys are traveling to or whatever you're doing. You guys want to get your travel and club program to say, okay, we're gonna not just eat here at the event. We're gonna go out somewhere to this local park, or we're going to go see this, or we're going to go by the water, or we're going to go up near the mountains and stuff, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to just let everything release. Because I know for coaches, those kids got to focus, right? You don't want them to get too scatterbrained while they're out running around and doing stuff. I get that, but you can still put together a program that takes into effect that these kids need to learn other things. But you as the parent, even if your club team doesn't do that, you can do it on your own. You know who your kid is now, what they're into, what they like. Are they in the museums or rocks or whatever they're into? You want to get them in that area. And you want them to go and see what it looks like over here where we're traveling anyway. Those are the kind of things I want to have. This is stuff that excites me. And I want your kids to connect with other kids that they would not have connected with, not just their team, with other people too. And now we're starting to build something. Your kid is starting to learn how to get out, be more sociable, how to connect with people that they would have never seen before. They're seeing places they've never seen before. I think the beauty of sports is that you get access to things that other people don't. You would not be in that city. You would not be in that location. You would not be meeting these people if your kid didn't play sports. And so now we're starting to build it. Now, from 13 and up, which we call positioning, this is where I think the biggest changes are going to happen, because what's happening right now is there's organizations that are saying, okay, college is going to start paying these kids directly. This is a whole new game. We need to get them prepared to have their own social media, to have their own NIL, name, image, and likeness set up. All these things should be set up. They should be getting paid now. And then we want them to take that into college, so they'll be getting paid there. They have their own social media, but they'll join the college's NIL program, and so it just keeps on going. And this means money's coming in. It's pouring in like crazy. And so this is the way the world's going to be. You guys need to get ahead of the game. And so that's what I'm kind of trying to get there. So what we want to do there is now we're starting to get training based on who your kid is and how they would play at the collegiate level. So if you're in high school, you want to get your kid ready for what they will do at the collegiate level. If your kid is not necessarily making varsity in high school, you don't panic about it. Your kid should still now be thinking about, okay, I got a tougher journey than that kid that made varsity in freshman year. I got to get there. Put that on film. You don't have to put it out yet, but put it on film anyway. Just talk about when you get up in the morning, things you got to go work out. You just got to do it. I'm not in the mood today, but I'm going to do it anyway, because those younger kids are looking at the older kids, and they need somebody to connect with too. And if you're not comfortable putting it out just yet, because you don't know if your kid's going to get there, or maybe they just get stuck at JV and they never make it, that's okay too. Now they could have a social media following anyway. And here's the thing, and here's a big piece of this that I kind of tell everybody. Let's say your kid got stuck at JV, and they're going to go to college anyway. When they get on that college campus, there is going to be a club team that does their sport, and they're going to be better than probably everybody else in that club team. It's going to be a bunch of people that could not make that college team, which is fine, but they're going to college anyway. And if they don't have a club team for your sport, then you start one. And now you're the person there. And so this is how you start building networks anyway. So you still take value from all those years, all that money you spent, all that time. It did not go to waste, people. You use it anyway. You start something on your campus and you still enjoy it. You still have other people coming around you. And that might be even a better world if you really think about it, because now you've got people that are playing it recreationally and it's just fun. There's no whole bunch of practices you guys got to do, and it's life or death. You're trying not to lose your scholarship. You don't have to worry about transfer portals because the coach is not playing you, or they're not treating you right, or things go wrong, or you got an injury, or whatever is going on, and it's disappointing because you thought you were going to go pro. That's its own set of pressure, and it's cool if you can make it there, because I still think The greatest thing you can say in a job interview or when they're looking at your resume is, hey, this I played at college sports. I played at this level. Very few people get there. But you didn't waste it. So don't ever think that you're going to play and it's a wasted thing. You can always continue playing on and you can meet new people, people that collaborate there. Whenever you're in competition, that bond there is what makes it. People, physical competition where somebody is trying to block you or trying to beat you and you have to play a sport to do it, and it could be physically, that's a big deal. Even if it's mentally, like something like golf or something like that. They're not physically trying to stop you, but they are trying to beat you in a competition. If there's a time limit, if there's a time to who's the fastest is who's the fastest. There's nothing you can do about that, right? Who's the best is the best at this moment. Can you fight back? That's what you want to try to do. That's how you get people to respect what you do and who you are and how you approach life. And so those are the people you want to meet, and they could be all over your campus. And all of a sudden, you guys are coming together, and they remember you, you remember them. You guys go on in your life, and you're going to try to do some things together. The future, and one of the things I'm going to try to get a little bit more into here is how I'm trying to go and do business. You cannot do it on your own. That single person that's just going to start a business, and they're going to make it. You can get to a certain level, but you can't accelerate it. You need a group. And I think you're going to need a group more and more as we move out into this world. There's going to be a separation between the haves and the have-nots, and there's no way to stop it. You're going to have to make a decision. Just like I told you earlier that the NCAA and the colleges are going to make a decision. Are they going to pay the kids or they're not? You're going to have to make that decision. Are you going to be over here or are you going to be over here? So everybody's got to do this thing, right? And so you guys, and I don't want the parents to get away with this either. You guys are going to have to start something for your kids. You guys are going to have to start a business. You're going to have to come and sit at the table and go, okay, what can we do? What do we know how to do? What are our talents? What can we do? What can we build that other people want that we can help other people do? I'm doing it, and I have no idea what I was doing, but I'm getting better at it, and I'm learning it, and I'll kind of talk about that as we go forward. But my bottom line is 2025, 2026 year, high school sports will change forever. Youth sports will change forever. College is definitely going to change forever. And it's going to keep accelerating, and it's going to happen over and over again. And the world is changing right now. You guys know, everybody's looking at me right now, knows something is happening right now, and you can't figure out where you're going to end up. You definitely don't know where your kids are going to end up. Well, I'm going to tell you, there's going to be this separation. And people are going to protest, and they're going to get mad. And I'm watching technology be the key leader for that separation, but it's going to happen. And so you want to be in position to where for your kids, for your grandkids, all that you guys created something now. But for your kids that are coming through right now, sports is a mechanism for them to get around people, start building a network, start building these assets up that they can take into the future. And yes, maybe still it's not accelerating so fast that you don't come out of college and get a job and get paid. That's still going to be in play, or you go to trade school or whatever you're going to do. That's going to still happen. But as their kids start coming or they start having kids, I think that world's kind of ending. They don't need that many employees anymore. I'm sorry, it's just not going to be. Or they will still need some employees, but it won't be in the traditional fields that we went to college to do. Computers can do 90% of that. All of that white collar stuff, that middle management stuff, there's no reason for that. They need thinkers, they need people with ideas, and they need people that can execute on those ideas. That's what people are going to be looking for. Can you make me more money? Are you valuable to me? And so what sports does that is very unique is it says for kids at a young age, are you valuable to the team? Are you valuable enough? Can you move forward, even if you're playing a solo sport? Are you valuable enough to make it here? Are you willing to put in the time, the effort? Can you see the game differently? Because that's the other thing you have to do. You have to innovate. So one of the things I always tell you guys with your kids as you're going into the summertime, one of the things you want to think about is you're playing your sport. You're trying to find somebody that plays like you, that moves like you, and you want to get details on how do they do that? What is their foot moving? What are their hands movements? What are they doing that makes them different? What are they seeing that you're not seeing? Slow things down. You guys have everything's on computer right now. Go find people that got to the highest level, whether it's collegiate, Olympic, professional. You go look at them, and then you find somebody that moves like you, they're shaped like you, they're everything. You can see you in them. Not just you think they're great and you want to play like them, and that's not who you are. You're trying to find somebody that fits who you are, and you're gonna look at what they did because they got to the highest level, and then you're gonna put your turn on it, your twist on it, because things are changing, the equipment's changing, the speed's changing, the training has changed. You're gonna go in there and go, okay, I see what they did. Now here's who I am. I'm gonna put my piece on this. That's the difference maker. That's the innovation. That's the difference between improving and innovating and changing the game. You want to be able to change the game in your way. What do you see? What do you do? And so there's a lot of different training processes for that. I'm putting some other stuff together for that. But I hope you guys will take this into consideration, the things that I'm saying. I can't prove anything other than the fact that you can go and look up, just type in Google or whatever you use to do searches on the internet, and type in NCAA to directly pay players. And you'll see stuff come up. But they're never really clear on what all of that really means. Does that mean you either get paid or you get an athletic scholarship? I think they have to do both. But you can read through it, and then it'll start getting clear as time goes on. You'll start following it. But then you're going to start seeing it trickle down to the high school and then to the youth sports world, and you're going to see organizations come through. And I'm not against, there's these big organizations that are trying to get youth sports back to the past, the way it used to be. It's supposed to be fun, not all of this, travel club programs and all these special things and kids separating and all the pressure on the kids and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know what era that is, like I said earlier. I don't know if it's the 50s, 60s, 70s, whatever they're remembering. But I think it comes down to they want the kids to have fun. The problem is, and this I say over and over again, whenever you create an organization, it's going to be a nonprofit. There are a bunch of nonprofits. I'm even on a couple of them, or at least I've joined a couple of them. And what they're trying to do is, it sounds good, but it doesn't work for this reason. Well, two reasons, really. One, people's kids move through the youth sports too quickly. By the time they get up, and only the people that are frustrated want these things to happen, right? It's not working out for their kid or the way they think it should be. But your kid's moved on by then. By the time so you never get this groundswell of parents that want to do it. You just get these people that it didn't go their way, it ticked them off, and they have this ability, and they get together somewhere and they go, we're going to fix this. But by the time it happens and they become the organization, their kids are already moved through. So it's not that fervor. But one of the things with nonprofits is, and I work with a bunch of them, and my dad used to have them when I was a kid, so I know how they work. There's a problem with nonprofits is that as you grow, as you start to gain traction, you get some government bodies, maybe the Rec and Parks Department will come in, maybe the state, maybe the federal, the Board of Education, somebody, they go, okay, we like what you're doing. We're going to help you guys out here. We're going to help fund this thing for you guys. And so they become the good housekeeping seal type thing, or the Consumer Reports thing. They get to choose the winners and losers. They go, hey, either you get our seal of approval, which will tell parents, okay, go over here or go over there, or we're going to, you come to our training, and we're going to train the coaches. We're going to make rules for the kids and the parents and the officials, and everybody's going to come through our organization. And if you come through our organization, we're going to give you the seal of approval, and that makes you who you are. The minute you start doing that, it means you have to grow your staff. In order to grow your staff, you need to take more money in. Once you start taking money in, then it becomes a business. Even if it's a nonprofit, it becomes a business. And then I think every nonprofit in the world should be in the business of putting themselves out of business. And they don't want to do that. And so they'll be around 30, 40, 50 years, 100 years, right? It's an organization now that keeps taking money, and it says, hey, if you want to be official, you want to be taken seriously, you got to come through us. That is the antithesis of what a nonprofit should be trying to do. They should get their rules out and let people go. And so it never really works, only because the parents of the best players will go around it. And then when the best players go around it, the other kids want to play with the best players. Otherwise, you're separated over here and you're just a recreational player. And so that's why I think it struggles in youth sports. Not that it's a bad idea or these people are bad people. I think it doesn't work because kids know if they're playing against the best kids. And the parents of those kids that are good, they want their kids to play with those kids over there, and you can't control those parents. You don't give them your seal of approval, they don't care. They'll go right around it. And so that's why I don't think these things will work. I think they're a good idea, and I think they give some baseline of what should be, but I don't think you can control parents, especially with their kids. They don't have the time, they don't have the effort. By age 12, most of the kids stop playing anyway. And I was in stats. If you guys don't know my background, I worked for government for 30 plus years in systems. I know everything about stats. And so at 12 years old, what ends up happening, those kids don't make high school. The kids that are in high school that did not make a high school team, they may continue playing, but they're not playing that organized world. There's no reason for it anymore. It's not even cool to them anymore. They'll still play recreationally. A few of them will still stick in there, but it'll be some side thing that they're doing, and they're just doing it for the love of the game. The competition is just fun now, and that's probably what everybody's trying to get with these nonprofits. But the kids that are in high school, different level. So I know I rambled, I went around, but I just want you guys to know this thing's not staying the same, and we have a vision for what youth sports should be. We want to reimagine it. We don't want to break up what everybody's doing. All these coaches that come out and help kids on Saturdays, and the referees, and all these organizations that are trying to make a place for these kids to go and participate, you guys need to stay off of their back. They're doing the best they can. They're doing the work. It's just that it's very chaotic, it's very organized. They can only do so much. You as parents, you're going to take your own kid and make this worthwhile in spite of what's going on. You have to move your kid when you have to move your kid. Don't let anybody get you stuck somewhere. Oh, you're just this parent. But don't be a jerk either. If you're going to move, leave. Go do what you're going to do. But do what's best for your kid, but let your kid be your kid. Make the journey part of them growing up to who they're going to be. So when you're going and doing all these things aren't going your way, go do some other events too. Get your kid in the right place, in the right frame of mind, get them around the right set of people, let them build their own network of people. Maybe you get them social media, maybe you can be good enough to get some NIL money, even in the youth sports, to help offset some of these costs. All of that's open as far as I'm concerned. You figure it out for your kid. I'm not trying to tell anybody what they have to do or how to do it, but that's your responsibility. I don't care how tired you are. I don't care how many hours you work this week. I don't care about all that stuff. That is your kid. You got to do a little bit more, because it'll be over before you know it. And all those complaints you have, you're going to have another set of complaints later, because people that complain don't get things done. Nobody's in business to make sure that you're happy. You got to do that for yourself, and you try to make your kid happy. You try to make their youth time happy. You let them connect with other people, and by the time they're older, they have learned you got to do the same thing, and they're going to do the same thing for your grandkids. And that is how you set things up, people. You got to do the extra work while you have the kid. You had the kid. Do it. I don't want no excuses, man. You got to do it. And so that's how we want to move forward and set standards for your family. And then as you move forward, they'll set standards, and those standards will live on past you. And that's how you do it. And you guys got to start a business. And I'll talk about that later, and what I've gone through and how I set everything up, all of the mistakes I made, especially the financial ones, but even my setup and how I had changed my mind frame and what I think works. The only reason I haven't really dug into this, and I know I've said this a couple of years ago that I was going to do this, is because I think you have to have some success financially for people to actually go, okay, this person knows what they're talking about. And we're close. We're getting a lot of stuff done. And from the bottom of my heart, I thank you guys for trusting me. Me sitting in this park, just spewing whatever I'm spewing here, is the biggest number of people that have signed up with it from all over the world. This is amazing to me. So you guys are using, so down below I give you the code, I give you the instructions for using the code. Even if your kid's not ready to go into high school, maybe they're junior high, go ahead and use it. You can sign them up from their 8th grade up. I think that's okay, even the 7th grade, so they can see what grades they need to get, to, what schools offer their sports, so they can start getting more interested. Maybe you guys can visit some of those school campuses while you're going on your travels and stuff like that. But if you got younger kids, what sports are the sports that you can get scholarships for? You can start the process like you're registering. You don't have to go all the way through, but you'll see that list in there, because you have to choose a sport, part of what I give you guys down below. Go take a look at it. Put your kid in some of those other sports. Let them try it out. All right, you guys, as always, best of luck to you in all your endeavors. Take care of those kids, people. Teach them how to go the extra mile. You're asking them to do it. You do it too. All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye.